Have you ever told yourself, Allah knows my heart, just to quiet the guilt? Have you ever mistaken self-confidence for self-worship? Because what I'm about to share with you comes directly from the Quran itself, and if you think loving yourself means ignoring Allah's commands, you're about to discover something that will change how you see everything. This is Aisha's story, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never think about self-love the same way again. If you want to understand where the line between confidence and arrogance really is, hit that subscribe button right now and the bell icon. Because this story, it could change everything about how you see yourself and your deen. Aisha was everything the culture told her to be: educated, articulate, confident. She ran a platform helping Muslim women heal from trauma, teaching them to love themselves after years of feeling small. And her intentions, at first, were pure. She wanted to help sisters reclaim their worth, to stand tall after being told they weren't enough. But something shifted. It started small, a post here and there about trusting your intuition. Then it became honoring your energy. Then the universe has your back. Think about this for a moment. When did the language of faith get replaced by the language of manifestation? Aisha stopped seeking Islamic knowledge. She stopped asking scholars. Why would she need to? She had her heart. She had her truth. She had herself. And the Quran warned us about this exact moment. In Surah Al-Jathiyah, verse 23, Allah says, "Have you seen the one who takes his desires as his God?" Pause this video for just 3 seconds and ask yourself, when was the last time you defended a sin by calling it self-care? Aisha's audience grew, her comments filled with praise. "You're so brave. You helped me feel free. Finally, someone who gets it." And the more they praised her, the more she believed she was on the right path. 10,000 followers became 20,000. Brand deals started coming in. Podcasts wanted her as a guest. She was building an empire on empowerment. Her platform was thriving, but her private worship was dying. But whose version of empowerment? It was as if her heart had turned into a comment section, loud, endless, and hollow. The truth is, popularity doesn't equal righteousness. A million likes doesn't mean Allah is pleased, and comfort doesn't mean you're on the straight path. But here's where it gets interesting. Real empowerment isn't rebellion, it's discipline. Real confidence isn't defying your creator. It's trusting him enough to obey even when it's hard. Because anyone can follow their desires, that takes zero strength. But submitting when every part of you wants to resist, that's where real power lives. Now, before I tell you what happens next, listen. This next part, this is where everything shifts. And there's another video you absolutely need to watch about the difference between false freedom and true submission. I'll link it at the end, but right now, you need to hear what changed for Aisha. She started posting about hijab. Not to encourage it, to question it. "Modesty is in the heart," she'd write. "Allah cares about your intention, not your outfit." Her followers loved it. They called her enlightened, progressive, brave. Can you imagine? The very thing meant to protect her became the thing she convinced herself was optional. And every time the guilt crept in, a voice would whisper, "Allah wants you happy. This is worship too, accepting yourself fully." Sometimes, late at night, she'd try to make dua, but the words felt hollow, like she was talking to a ceiling instead of to Allah. She'd brush it off. "I'm tired. I'll pray properly tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. But deep down, that peace she promised her followers, she didn't feel it. Her audience grew, but her heart felt hollow. The more she justified, the emptier she became. One day, she was invited to speak at a Muslim women's panel. Mid-speech, talking about boundaries and self-respect, an elder in the audience raised her hand. The room went quiet. "Daughter," she said gently, "when did obedience become oppression?" That line pierced her. It cut through every post, every justification, every carefully worded caption. The room was watching her, waiting for an answer. And for the first time in months, Aisha had nothing to say. She wanted to defend herself. The words were there: context, interpretation, patriarchy. But her tongue refused to move because the woman wasn't attacking her. She was asking her to remember. Right now, while you're watching this video, ask yourself the same question. When did surrender to Allah start sounding like a prison instead of freedom? When did following His guidance become something you had to defend yourself out of? Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 208, "Enter into Islam completely and do not follow the footsteps of Shaitan." Not halfway, not the parts that feel comfortable, not the verses you can spin into captions, Completely. That night, Aisha couldn't sleep. She scrolled through her old posts, the ones about modesty, the ones about sincerity, the ones about seeking knowledge. She barely recognized herself. When did she stop being a student and start being a preacher of her own desires? She kept scrolling. 2 years ago, she'd posted an ayah from Surah Al-Ahzab about lowering the gaze and guarding modesty. The comments back then were full of heart emojis and amens. Now she'd posted the opposite, and the comments were still full of heart emojis. That's when it hit her. Her followers didn't care about truth, they cared about comfort. And she'd been giving them exactly what they wanted to hear. And this is where things get really intense. Because transformation doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you're finally honest enough to admit you've been wrong. She came across a video clip, a reminder quoting the hadith, "No one humbles himself for Allah except that Allah raises him." Sahih Muslim, 2588. She watched it 3 times. Then the tears came. Maybe self-love isn't the goal, she whispered into the dark. Maybe self-obedience is. Think about that. What if loving yourself the right way starts with obeying the one who designed you? Allah says in Surah Ad-Dariyat, verse 56, "I did not create jinn and mankind except to worship me." Not to worship ourselves, not to worship our feelings, Him. The next morning, Aisha did something that terrified her. She went through her posts and deleted the ones that glamorized disobedience, not because she wanted to hide, but because she refused to lead others astray the way she'd led herself. The delete button felt heavier each time she pressed it. Thousands of likes, hundreds of shares, all of it gone. And the messages started flooding in. Why are you deleting your best posts? Don't let them silence you. You're betraying the movement. But Aisha finally understood. This wasn't a movement toward Allah. It was a movement toward herself. And that's exactly what Shaitan wanted. Your preparation starts today, right now. While you're still alive, you can still choose truth over comfort. You can still turn back before your last breath is taken, and it's too late to change your answer. She stopped live streaming her spiritual journey. She started living it instead. No more aesthetic prayer mats for content. No more dua with ring lights. She found a teacher, a real one. Not an influencer, not someone with a blue checkmark, a scholar who had dedicated her life to studying this deen properly. And Aisha studied quietly. No cameras, no captions, just her and the Quran. She started journaling her dua. Ya Allah, teach me to love myself as you wish me to be. Not as I wish I could be, not as my followers want me to be, as you created me to be. Small changes, daily istighfar, charity no one saw, conversations with Allah instead of conversations with her followers, learning to pray with presence instead of performing it. And slowly, the peace she'd been chasing in all the wrong places, it started to return. Pause now and ask yourself, do you want followers or do you want forgiveness? Because you can't chase both with the same energy. Her tone softened, her post changed. They started with Bismillah. They quoted scholars, not influencers. They pointed to Allah, not to herself. And here's what's incredible. The sisters who truly needed her, they stayed. The ones chasing validation, they left. And that's how she knew she was finally on the right path. One day she posted this: "Loving yourself starts with obeying the one who designed you. Everything else is just noise." Allah says in Surah Ar-Ra'd, verse 28, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest, not in self-obsession, not in independence from His commands, in Him." If this story meant something to you, hit that like button, not for numbers, but as a quiet reminder that the truth still matters more than comfort. Subscribe if you want more stories that challenge the way you see your deen. And here's your challenge. Come back to this video in 3 months. Ask yourself, have you chosen discipline over desire? Comment below and let me know what one self-love belief you've had to unlearn. In the next story, you'll meet Imran, a man who thought marriage would complete him, only to discover he'd turned his wife into an idol. That video is next. Click on it right now. Don't wait, because that could be you one day, and your answer might surprise you. This could be the most important 10 minutes of your life. Don't let it be the last.